In the Builders category for this year's Hall of Fame, Field Hockey Canada honors a key innovator in the sport. Peter Buckland was a former national player and administrator who helped the game transition from being played on grass to artificial turf. Buckland grew up near the University of British Columbia, which was one of the only hotbeds for field hockey in Canada. He was introduced to field hockey through Hall of Famer Harry Warren, who lived close by and would bring other youngsters together to play the sport.
It was the only area in Canada probably playing the sport. It was because of this one man. And playing, that's on the men's side. Of course, there's a lot of women's teams, and our competition was private school girls teams, and you play about 4 or 5 games a year, that's about it. I liked the game a lot, and it just grew, it kept growing. It was started from almost nothing, and so it always had some momentum, some positivity to it, and creation and stuff, so I guess I got sucked in slowly.
The momentum that Buckland began to build led him to being on the record books. At 23 years old, Buckland ended up on the first Canadian team to play field hockey in the Olympics in 1964.
I thought I would make the team, but I knew I had to work hard for it. And I think they told it, I don't know, if they probably posted a list on a notice board or something. I don't remember. They certainly didn't email you. We were fit. That's one thing we were fit. So like when we played in the Olympics, we were winning or tied at halftime in every game because we just ran around the competition, and they couldn't figure. Then they finally figured out they could just pass around us. We played above our average, which is always rewarding, no matter whether you win or not. And it was a lot of fun, yeah.
After the Olympics, Buckland's playing career began to wind down, but he soon began to build a good reputation on the administrative side. His work as a committee member for the Jokers Field Hockey Club helped him become the president of the BC Field Hockey Association, which then led him to something bigger.
So I went to the BC Field Hockey Association, and then I was invited to be the president of the Canadian Field Hockey Association. So people do notice the work you're doing. When it came time for the president of the Canadian Field Hockey Association was about to retire, and his board, they asked me if I would become the president. So it was there. Who knows what they never did tell me what they liked in me, but yeah, I took the job, and we did a good job, I think.
As president, Buckland was a key facilitator in helping the game transition from grass to artificial turf.
Here in Vancouver, Empire Stadium, where BC Lions played, had artificial turf, and most of the stadiums in the States were changing over. We asked if we could play the game on there and test it out. Right from the get-go, it was so obvious that it makes the games that much better and exciting, more exciting. So we made an effort to convince the authorities, the international authorities, to have a look into artificial turf.
Buckland and his team then met with executives in Europe to propose the idea.
And we went to Christchurch, and we took down samples of the artificial turf carved in the shape of maple leaves for handouts to all these international heavies, right? And we hyped it and everything. There was a congress in Brussels that I attended several months before. I wrote the international president and asked if I could be the keynote speaker, and that I wanted to talk about artificial turf. And that happened. And I got into a position where I could personal conversations with the president, and he was an absolutely overpowering individual and respected by everyone. And so it just evolved, and I developed a good strategy to combine all those interested in getting artificial turf, and they were convinced after that speech.
Buckland's speech helped convince many executives to give the idea a shot. The paradigm shift to officially switch to artificial turf then fittingly took place on Canadian soil.
There was a test the year ahead of the Olympics, 1975, they had the Eight Nations tournament in Montreal. And that convinced the world that play the game on artificial turf. So the Olympics went ahead on artificial turf. And I don't think now you can play an official game unless it's on artificial turf.
Buckland remained as president through the 1976 Olympic Games before leaving in 1977. Since then, he has continued to dedicate his life to rebuilding and maintaining Cougar Annie's Garden north of Tofino, BC. Buckland is also a pioneer in the game of tidal hockey, which is a modified version of field hockey played on a beach. He says that one of the keys to being a good builder is not getting caught up with setbacks.
Don't let setbacks get you down too much. Go into a positive mode, and then all of a sudden the setback is in the distance and really wasn't significant at all, that type of deal. But a lot of people will see a stumbling block and get overwhelmed by it. But try to bypass it, at least temporarily, through some other route. And then if that doesn't work, then you're really in trouble. But